Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Advanced Level, a video game podcast. My name is Felipe, and with me, as always, the ever omnipotent Oscar Portillo. What's going on, Oscar?
Hey, what's up, Felipe? How are you today?
Thankfully, this heat has cooled down a little bit, just a tad.
It's not as humid, but it still is a New Jersey humid. So
You're gonna judge me for what I'm about to say,
yes.
but I walk around because since I take public transportation to work, I walk around with that. I don't know if you've seen them like on TV or the infomercials. That towel that's supposed to keep you cool. You wrap it around your neck.
What?
Like I said, you're gonna judge me.
I will judge you.
You're gonna pass judgment, and you know what the sad thing is?
What?
That damn thing actually works.
So
And mind
explain
you,
the technology.
mind you, they're not paying me to say this. I'm not even gonna say the product's name. I'm not,
It's
I'm
not
not,
paid advertising.
yeah, this is not paid advertising. I'm not getting paid to say this, but I bought it at a specific superstore, right?
Okay.
And I'm really trying not to say, trying to drop names, but it came for like a two for one type of deal.
Give the initials, maybe.
The store or the product?
The store.
Damn it, I can't because it'll give it away.
Okay.
So I bought it. It was on sale. I looked at it. I'm like, you know what? It was like $6.
Why not?
Why not? I
You
found
spent $6 on what?
yeah, and it came. There was two of them. Okay, so I followed the instructions, and I'm thinking to myself,
Hey, can you explain? I want walk us step by step on what to do.
it's a towel, and I was gonna explain the specific step-by-step directions
Okay, I'm
that
sorry,
comes
go
on
ahead.
the package. I know
Go ahead.
you're biting. You'll bite. You take the towel. You ready? You ready for this?
Yep.
You put it in water, and then you kind of like, I guess, rinse it out. Like when you twist it,
Yeah.
and then you're supposed to pull it really tight, like you're about to. Remember, back in the day, you used to roll up the towel, and you're technically supposed to do that. And
Okay.
it's supposed to stay cool for long periods of time. And I'm thinking, all right, I'll bite. I used it. I take public transportation to work. I got to work, not an ounce of sweat on me.
Now, where do you apply the towel on your person?
You have to put the towel, like, you wrap it around the back of your neck.
Okay.
So it's supposed to keep you cool. And they
How
specifically
does this work as far as your clothes? Like,
your clothes will get a little wet depending on how much water you use.
okay.
But I would rather, and I know you're thinking why. Only
No, I know
because
why. I know why.
I hate going into work sweating.
I know. Right. I get that.
Right? It's hot as hell outside.
Now, how long is your walk? I know you're. How long is your walk from the bus stop to your job?
About 7 minutes.
Okay, so that's a decent walk in the heat.
Yeah, but you're looking at a 7-minute walk in 100-degree heat with humidity.
No, I get that. That's why I understand more now. Why you do this. Now, do you rotate the towel?
Yes. Oh, of course you have to.
Well, listen, I don't know what you're.
But it's just funny how these little things that you see every day, you try them out, and there's always that one that kind of surprises you. It's like, wow, it actually works as advertised. They're not BSing you.
And do you replenish it like when you get to on your way home?
When I go to work, I'll like wet it a little bit and I'll put it in the refrigerator.
Nobody says whose dirty towel is this or what?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Nobody.
I got actually people who are kind of jealous because when they're out in the heat and they see me and I'm not sweating, they're like, "How?" And I'm like,
This guy has ice in his veins.
Towel, man. It's the towel." But now, since we got my daily activities out of the way, I'm just gonna go right head into it. And
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about crossplay. This whole crossplay situation has gotten out of hand, and it just seems like Sony just does not want any part of it.
They're not sweating it.
That was good. That was actually pretty good. I like that segue. I was gonna go with the whole BS, like, oh, speaking of BS, and then go with Sony. But no, yeah, I like yours better.
So yeah, Sony's really not having any of it.
And I thought that they would have come up with something like kind of listening to the community, but they don't want any part of it. They don't want to be involved. They don't even want to hear it. All right. And for those of you who kind of don't understand what's going on with the whole crossplay issue, about a month ago, obviously Fortnite, which is still a hot game, it's just
Right.
killing it, launched on the Nintendo Switch. So a lot of people were super excited. They finally get to play Fortnite on the go. So they figured, let me, I guess, unlink my account on PS4 and try to play it on the Switch.
Right.
But what was happening was a lot of players were finding out that if you had your account, your Epic Games account, linked or associated with the PlayStation 4, your account was automatically locked, meaning you couldn't use that account if you wanted to go on PC, if you wanted to
You
go on
can't
Xbox.
unlock it.
You cannot unlock it. Once it's associated with PSN account, that's it. It's locked. And this pissed off a lot of people, rightfully so.
Right. And we both are agreeing about the pissed off.
Yeah, and it's not a matter of. I remember you asked me specifically, do you think when they designed the game with crossplay in mind or not, right? I was thinking, you know what? They probably did it with not having crossplay in mind. But you remember when Fortnite went crossplay for like 4 hours, where
Right.
everybody was able to access it. So obviously it's doable.
Yeah, I mean, we heard it was able to be crossplay on PS4 for a little bit.
Yeah, for like a whole 4 hours.
Right. Yeah.
So it is a matter of just checking a box or
That's
hitting a
what it
button.
looks like.
So it's not that they don't want it. Well, they don't want to do it,
No, that's what it is. And they don't want. Yeah.
right? I want to say the CEO of PlayStation, Sean Layden. Is that his name?
I think he's a former.
Oh, he's the former. Okay, I wasn't aware. I wasn't sure yet. He released a statement saying, and I quote, "We're hearing it. We're looking at a lot of possibilities. You can imagine that the circumstances around that affect a lot more than just one game. I am confident we will get to a solution which will be understood and accepted by the gaming community, while at the same time supporting our business." That is such a corporate answer. That is
That doesn't even that doesn't answer anything.
no, it does not answer anything. It's kind of like trying to redirect the issue. Like,
Yeah.
we hear you, and they're pushing it to the side, hoping it goes away.
I mean, to me, it's this thing where Sony's in the lead now of the quote unquote console war, and they're taking advantage of they're exploiting that advantage pretty much.
Right. And that is what kind of bothers me about this whole thing. Sony right now, after E3, we spoke about it. Sony's killing it right now with exclusives, just on exclusivity alone.
Right.
And for them now, they took 3 steps forward, and now they took 6 or 7 back because of this one situation. We're going back pretty much to, remember when all the accounts got hacked?
Do you really think that's kind of where we're going?
It just seems like there's always something up with Sony. Whenever they're doing something good, it's like, hold up, we can't trust them just yet. They're going to fall, they're going to slip. And instead of, right now, Sony has the opportunity
Yeah.
to take this and make it into a positive, saying, yeah, we hear you. We're looking at the possibility of doing crossplay. But before we do that, we want to make sure we do it right. We want to give back to the community. We hear you. We understand you. They're not doing that. They just gave
Even if they said that and maybe didn't believe it, but even just to say it, but they're not even saying that. They're just completely not even they're not even answering any questions. They're not. It's like it's not happening.
No, they honestly hope that this topic goes away. That it kind of gets swept under the rug. That people will play Fortnite enough to say, you know what happened with Sony? What's up with this crossplay? But no, people still want an answer from Sony, and Sony should do something, because obviously we saw that little advertisement that Xbox and the
Yeah.
Switch had. Oh man, that was such a low blow, but it was beautiful. It was
Yeah,
so,
and that's you're gonna run into a problem if Nintendo and Microsoft are, I don't know if they're teaming up, but have a common interest or a common enemy,
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
and nobody's too big to fail.
That is for damn sure. And it's funny because now that this whole crossplay thing has taken precedent over everything, a lot of people are coming out of the woodworks. One person being the former PlayStation Online Entertainment boss, John Smedley, and
Uh-huh.
I apologize if I mispronounced his name. In a tweet, he stated that when he was with Sony, and they're talking about the whole crossplay issue, right? The stated reason internally for this was money. They didn't like someone buying something on an Xbox and it being used on the PlayStation. Simple as that. Dumb reason, but there it is. And I love this response because it's cut and dry.
Yeah,
It shows that, yeah, you know what? They're in it for the money. That's the sole reason.
and they could have and this obviously Microsoft can turn it around and really turn this into a positive for them, saying, oh, we're open, you can do what you want here. We're pro crossplay, not like Sony. We're for the gamer.
Because
Microsoft can really turn this into something positive for them.
yeah, because you're thinking like how a normal person should think. You're thinking of the bigger picture. You're thinking of the future, the possibility of how these consoles could sort of advance instead of
Right.
just saying console exclusivity. You know what? Let's face facts. Sony, as far as exclusivity, they're going to have it. I've always thought that Sony had that library better than Xbox did, and they're always going to have it.
I don't think anybody could argue that.
But now it's like, all right, you have to take that next step. All right, it shouldn't end with this whole crossplay thing. Like, all right, you know what? We're looking into it, and that's it.
Yeah, because people are gonna want an answer, one way or the other.
And what makes it even worse is that Bethesda's Todd Howard
Yeah, yeah.
went online and started bashing Sony as well, stating Sony is not being as helpful as everyone would like them right now. And I feel like Todd Howard's that type of person that will call you on your bullshit, but he'll be mad nice about it.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah, like to the point where he'll say, "Yeah, I believe you're full of it," but you're thinking, "Wow, that was like so nice. Like you called me out on it, but you know what? I'm not even mad."
Hey, the nice guy.
You know, but you know what? It is right. Sony is not being helpful. They're
And you
not
have to wonder is there? I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think eventually Sony will give in, or they're gonna hold out?
with any company, and Sony's one, but we use other examples like the banks and other big companies with enough public pressure,
Right.
they will fold. But it has to be the right amount. To the point where their stocks start getting affected. Look what happened with EA, with the whole Star Wars Battlefront thing. There was such a public outcry that their stocks got affected. And what did they end up doing? You know what? This whole loot box thing is not
They
a good
changed
idea.
it.
And they changed it because there was enough pressure from the public to say, hey, you know what? I think we effed up. So to answer your question, yes, I do think that there is a possibility that they can cave.
Just enough. The public has to push
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, but it has to be a community-driven, like hardcore community, petitions, tweets. We're talking about the whole shebang-a-bang to really light a fire under Sony. And not
And then, like you said, also the stocks dropping. I mean, if it's money, obviously money is driving it.
yeah, and he said it. Listen, plain and simple, money. All right, the one thing that they want so deeply is the one thing that's going to be their downfall, and
And it's
that's
sad because we played a lot of Rocket League, and this kind of started with Minecraft and Rocket League.
right.
This crossplay talk started at that point.
And I completely forgot that. It started with the whole Rocket League. And I remember they were talking about it, but nothing was done. It was swept under the rug. People forgot about it.
Yeah, because Rocket League was big, but it obviously wasn't as big as Fortnite.
No, but
And I think that's part of the issue.
I think Fortnite will eventually cool down. That's with every game.
Yeah.
They get hot and it kind of cools down, then it gets hot again, then it cools down. And Rocket League's another one. Gets hot, gets cold.
That summer when Rocket League came out.
Oh my God.
Everybody was playing.
Everybody, but you have to admit though, the way the game was structured, right? You couldn't find a game that was more fire than Rocket League.
No, that game, I still play it now and then, and
See,
it's fun.
And that's the beauty of it. You could pick up the game. Hey, let me just get one match, and that's it. You could be done because the way it's structured, you could just play for 5 minutes. But we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
One match turns into two, and we've
the way the game is set up, it takes you right into the next match.
Exactly, and
you don't even have to think about it.
Exactly, it doesn't give you time to think about it.
Yeah.
You're like, you know what? Yeah, maybe one more. You know what? You're right. I can definitely take one more.
You don't have to do anything. You put the controller down. It'll knock you into the next match.
And then next thing you know, it's 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you got to go to work.
But Sony could have really done themselves a favor at that point in implementing crossplay at that point.
Yeah, I think they could have started it there. Even though if they didn't want to go fully in on crossplay, they could have started it with just one, baby steps. It always starts with one. And could have eventually, okay, is this going to work? How are we going to do this? How are we going to make it where it's beneficial for us? No, they just swept it under the rug, and it worked for that time. But now with Fortnite is way too popular of a game for you to just attempt to sweep it under the rug again.
Yeah, I feel like we're the only ones who are not playing it.
Well, I did try it.
You did play it.
Okay, I did try it, and you know what? Oh my God, I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for what I'm about to say, but I didn't find it all that good. But I have played H1Z1. Okay, I haven't played PUBG, but I've played H1Z1 and I've played Fortnite. The one thing I will give Fortnite, and I give credit where credit's due, the shooting mechanics are much tighter on Fortnite than it is on H1Z1.
Yeah, we both played H1Z1, and again, it was early on though.
Yeah, but they have, with the new patch, I think it's 1.3. I think
I think that they bring a patch every other day on H1Z1.
They have made tremendous strides. I mean, it's still in its beta, but where they were initially to where they are now, it's a big jump. And I recommend you don't get back into it now. Wait for another couple patches because I do feel that the hit detection is just pure trash.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. You can tell it wasn't good at all.
And that's where Fortnite comes in. It does it so much better.
But let's say Fortnite's been out.
Right.
We don't know how that game was when it first came out.
Buggy.
Well, I don't know anyway.
From what I read, buggy. Super, super buggy. But I didn't get a chance to play it when it first came out.
Yeah, we thought the same thing. At that point, the Battle Royale mode was still kind of new.
But
as well.
But now that, it's just not going to work for Sony, for them to continue to do it this way, for them to continue to ignore it. It's one of those things where they really need to get on the ball with this. I mean, I don't know how you feel or how you see this, but this could end up being really bad for them.
I mean, again, I said it earlier, nobody's too big to fail. So the combination of Fortnite being the biggest game in the past year, let's say.
Right.
And now this controversy with the crossplay. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony stumbles, and they do need to address it, like, directly, not indirectly.
Because it seems like somehow they're misunderstanding the current situation, right? And going back to their previous statement, it almost seems like a solution understood by the community is completely different than working on a solution. It's
No, I think they understand. I just think it's exactly what.
do you really think they understand?
Yeah, I think they do. And it's about they don't want to lose that money. Think
Do,
about it this way. Let's think about something here. What if Microsoft was on the other side as on the console war? And I hate to keep saying that, but that's the only way.
no, there's no other way to say it.
If Microsoft was in the lead, let's say, do you think Microsoft would be doing the same thing?
Man, that is a tough question. That is a very tough. It's
I'm not asking you to answer. I'm just saying to think about that because Sony being in the lead, they're going to take advantage of this.
right.
They have the most consoles out. So this is just them taking advantage or exploiting their lead. Now it's bad optics. It's just a bad luck to do this, to not because again, the message that we've been given from Sony is throughout the life of PS4 that they're for the gamer. They care about us. Look at how many indie games we have and all this.
Right.
And now this is completely opposite of that.
And that's the point that I'm trying to make. What you said is exactly on the money. And for them to sort of do this about face and say, we're not sure about this whole crossplay thing. That's the part that really bothers me. So, do you think that they will eventually change their mind and cave in? I'm going to ask you that question that you just asked me.
I think they have to. I really hope they do. I'll put it to you in that way. I would really hate for them to go down a different route. They would alienate any, Nintendo Switch, alienate Microsoft.
I mean, what other way is there to pretty much get gamers from different consoles to play together? Not unless I'm not seeing something, or maybe Sony's trying to find a way to do that. I don't know. But just for the fact that they're not saying anything. They're not saying.
I think that's one of the most frustrating parts about this entire thing.
Exactly. Saying nothing is just as bad as, not saying the right thing.
Well, they're saying something. They're just not saying much when they say something.
Yeah, you have all that technical jargon and, oh yeah, we're confident in this and this, but then, you're absolutely right. They say all these nice words, but there's nothing being said.
Yeah, so I hope they do, but I'll put it to you this way. If I was to bet on it, I don't think they will.
Oh, man.
Unless, like you said, enough people really, go in an uproar about this.
But do you think there is enough... Right now, do you think the community is upset enough to sort of start driving that type of backlash towards Sony? Because I don't see it. Yeah, you have all these
I'm not seeing
people
it.
sending out tweets and saying, "Oh, Sony's this," but I don't see any real movement to say.
Yeah, I agree with you about that.
Like the pitchforks and the torches, like people converging onto Sony headquarters. And you know what? The gamers have a lot more power than they realize.
Well, we can look back at the whole loot box thing.
Exactly. They alone, the gaming community alone, was able to drive real change. And I think we're presented with another obstacle that we can really step back and say, you know what, this is the next hurdle for us to get over, to really get the consoles or to really get gaming to where it needs to be rather than what the companies think it needs to be.
I think maybe the issue is, if you think about it, it's only Sony. It's Nintendo, Microsoft, and PC, and mobile, and everything else.
Because Nintendo really, they were on board with this. They're like, yeah, it's a great idea. Let's do it. Now, I don't know if that's really what went on behind closed doors, or if they're just doing it to get back at Sony. I don't know. I don't know what
Nintendo
happened.
seems to be making a big comeback, in my opinion.
Oh no, I definitely agree with you on that one.
And
They really switched it up.
Yeah.
You know what? All right. That's my one pun. My one pun per episode. All right. I'm sorry. One pun per episode. I got it out of my system. But no, they really did. Look at the situation and say, all right. Even though the Wii was I think the Wii U was a failure. A little bit.
I think by everybody's standards, there it was.
And for them to sort of step back and say, all right, we're gonna take it to the next level and release the Switch. It only makes sense for them to be like, okay, this is the next step for our console, right? Whoever wants to play, hey, we're on board.
Right.
And I really think they did a magnificent job with that console. Really, I like, if I could, I'd stand up and applause. Reggie, he just seems like he knows what he's doing.
At this point, like we said, the Wii U was a fail. So it seems like they take, like you said, they take a step back and did what Nintendo they did what Nintendo does.
Was that your
They
one?
changed.
Was that your one per
Well,
episode?
let's have the second one now. Or the sweat thing
Oh,
earlier.
okay, all right. So you're up to two.
Sorry.
No, we'll allow it for now. But and
They really, with the Switch, they really knocked it out of the park. Again, they did Nintendo. They just do their own thing. They don't worry about anything else. They don't worry about Sony. They don't worry about Microsoft. They just do their own thing, and I believe that it's a success.
yeah, I believe so too. I mean, the numbers will probably tell you
It's
that
probably sold them more than the Wii U at this point.
oh yeah, that's what and I really want to find the numbers to really confirm that. But Sony needs to really take a page out of Nintendo's book and, like how you said, take a step back, reassess the situation, and say, okay, how can we get ourselves out of this again? Because
It's simply by just doing the crossplay.
but for
It
some
doesn't even have to be for every game. It can just be for Fortnite. But because it's the biggest game, out in a while.
maybe it's just me, but I think it's not that simple. Or maybe I'm complicating it more than it needs to be, and Sony sure as hell is complicating it more than it needs to be. But I just feel like, yes, it's a simple fix, but it's not at the same time, because like I feel that by them okay, you know what? Every game's crossplay. Yay, we get exactly what we wanted. But do you feel that that's going to present another set of problems?
No, of course. Every solution brings another set of problems.
Because
So I'm not advocating for every game to be crossplay. I
but
do think Fortnite should be, because it already is
with that
for the
being
most part.
with that
without
being
some.
said, right? What games do you think right now? And let's broaden the time, whether it be now or a couple games that you think that would have benefited from crossplay.
Well, as of right now, I mean, I play a lot of Overwatch,
Right.
and I can't imagine if the entire community was playing together, Xbox, PC, PS4, if we were all playing under one umbrella. Just to have more players. I'm not sure how it would affect matches in particular, but I imagine it would be all the same.
Have you reached Grandmaster level yet?
There's no Grandmaster level. Right?
No, because I see some videos on YouTube, what you do differently than the Grandmaster. So I'm assuming that's like high level players. I don't know.
I just play a lot of Overwatch. I'm not at the e-sport level yet.
You're there. You're up there though. I've seen your rank. I've seen your levels. I'm the one following your lead when we're playing Overwatch.
What about you? What game do you think would benefit? What games?
I feel like all I do is talk about this game, right? But let's just look at the scope, right, of how a specific game, and I'm gonna use this game like No Man's Sky, right? How they could use this cross-play functionality and really take it like on a larger scale. Now, the game obviously uses this whole quintillion planets infrastructure. Now,
Right.
Obviously they can't have hundreds of thousands of people on one server. It just won't work that way. The system will crash. But just think of this, right? You have Xbox players, you have PC players, and you have Sony players. Now,
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're going to release it on the Switch anytime soon. That
Do you
that
think? Let me ask you this. Do you think it can be on the Switch?
I think it could, and I honestly think it needs to be on the Switch. In my
Like, let me
opinion,
ask you. Hang on. Let me ask you. Is it a graphical? Again, I've never played No Man's Sky, so I don't know.
right?
Is it a graphical powerhouse, let's say, or
It's
like?
it's a very pretty looking game, and it has a very distinct art style, but it's
Okay.
not a graphical powerhouse. It could
Okay, so it
easily
could
like
be on the Switch.
yes, I think it could easily be brought over to the Switch, right?
Okay.
And I think the Switch could really benefit from this game. Now, we have Switch, we have Sony, we have Xbox, we have PC, we have all these players sharing this world, right? These different universes. Now, we could literally take the whole console war to that next level, right? You have Xbox and Sony players fighting for one galaxy. You have Twitch, if it ever does come out on the Switch,
Right.
you have Switch players and you have PC players fighting for another galaxy. You could
Now, hang
literally.
on. Hang on. So now, back up a little bit. Can you explain what the multiplayer? It's not out yet,
It's not
correct?
out yet, no. According to Mr. Sean Murray, and of course we have to take what he says with a grain of salt.
Now, can you explain
You
what the
can, you
multiplayer
can,
sounds like it will be?
you from then again, this is just my interpretation of what he's saying.
Okay.
You could team up with other individuals. You could, run into them. You can team up with them. You could fight against them, right? You can create groups. Now, I don't know if that means clans or whatnot, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some form of, clan type of, type of system implemented where
Okay.
you can go and you could explore the galaxy together. You can take place in galaxy battles. You can create colonies. You can share resources. Because
So
I
you
know
think you think there will be some sort of clan mechanic?
I think so. I
Okay.
think so. So now that you have that sort of background about how multiplayer is going to work, and remember, you have the ability to buy starships, like these gigantic freighters that you can use to explore the galaxy.
Now
Now,
you mean to buy them like within the game
oh no,
or in PSN?
you can buy them within the game. Like if you
Okay,
have enough.
they're not on PSN or whatever.
No.
Okay, okay. It's like in-game currency.
In-game currency, which
Okay.
even the in-game currency, these things are freaking expensive as hell. You're looking at,
Okay.
the lowest tier costs you 80 million credits, and the top tier will cost you 450 million credits.
Okay.
All right.
Just so we have a scope.
So you have a scope of how, and mind you, those they're called capital freighters. They look like not the Death Star, but those Star Destroyers from Star Wars.
Right.
That's what they look like. Now
Okay.
you get these clans together, and ever since Sean Murray said that people will be able to prey on one another, the Reddit community and the No Man's Sky community, they've created this sort of intergalactic police that is going to help players and protect them if you have all these kind of pirates and trolls and stuff like that. This
Now
is
let me ask, how
this
many
is
players? Go ahead.
the level that this game has gotten to. Not because once again, not because of the developer, but because the community pushed and pushed and pushed for multiplayer to be involved in this game. And look, they pushed. Now No Man's Sky has multiplayer because the community they did petitions, Reddit, Twitter, you name it, they were out there and they were protesting, this game needs multiplayer, and we got it 2 years later, but we got it,
Now, did they say how many players on a server or how
That's
many players?
all that stuff we will find out. I believe it's
Okay.
July 24th that it's coming out.
It's pretty soon.
Pretty soon. And I guarantee you that these servers will crash. Because
Well,
it's just
that always happens.
yeah.
On day one.
So getting back to the whole crossplay thing, now that you have a little bit of of an understanding of how
Right. I just wanted
No
to.
Man's Sky works, just imagine you have Xbox players and PlayStation players fighting over a galaxy. Whoever wins, that is a PlayStation or an Xbox Galaxy, and it could be colored in blue and green because
Right.
when you look at different galaxies in No Man's Sky, they're sort of color coded, so you know if one's an engineering planet, if one's a power,
I see.
so it's more for trading purposes. But there's some sort of, but how awesome would it be if they go even further and it's like, this is an Xbox planet, or this is a PlayStation planet, this is a PC planet, and if anybody else wants to venture into that sort of space, Either you want to trade peacefully, or stuff can get real.
Okay.
You know,
So
that's sort of my vision on really where crossplay can go. You could literally have console wars in space.
and we can think about it can reinvigorate that game too.
Exactly. That's one game, and mind you, this is just me really thinking outside the box. That this whole console sort of crossplay can really reinvigorate that game. Now, Xbox players are getting the game that PlayStation players should have gotten 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. When is it? Is it being released around the same time as the
Yeah,
patch,
yeah,
or
it's
when?
it's coming out. Everything's coming out July 24th. The patch is coming free for PC players as well as PlayStation, and Xbox is getting a brand new game.
I mean that happens. I get Fortunately, that happened with Tomb Raider a couple years ago.
Right. It did happen with Tomb Raider, and PlayStation got the full experience, the
Right.
best game. So yeah, it happens.
It happened.
But you know what? You brought up a very good point. Something like this whole crossplay can reinvigorate a game that was supposed to have died 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I give it credit. It's still moving along. I give credit where credit is due as well, and they didn't forget about the game. They keep patching it over and over again.
Oh my God, the amount of work they've put into this game is a testament, and they set an example of how developers need to sort of support their games 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years after its initial release. So really kudos to Hello Games for what they did. And
It's definitely not the same game that you bought. How long?
no,
When did
no,
you buy
no,
it?
no. I bought it a year ago, right when the Atlas Rising patch was about to be released. It was like 2 weeks before its release. And believe me when I tell you, this game is not the game that was released in 2016.
Well, no. Even when you bought it is what I'm saying.
When I bought it though, I thought to myself, I don't understand why people are complaining about this game. And then I remembered, hold up, this is a complete, like, I didn't play vanilla No Man's Sky.
Yeah, you already were
You
in
know,
a few patches deep.
When I bought the game, we were already 2 major patches in, and we were
Okay.
about to get the 3rd major patch.
Okay.
So, and I'm sitting there, and I remember I'm playing it, and I'm thinking, man, this is big. And then when I heard that whole, crossplay, I'm thinking, man, that was the very first game that I thought of that say, wow, this game could really take advantage of the crossplay. Like, I'm talking really take advantage. And like, I kind of got excited. I'm like, and once again, I got excited and I started playing it again. Believe me when I tell you, I have logged in 150 hours in this game so far.
Is that what it says? 150?
Right as you log in, it tells you your save data and it tells you play time 150, 45. That's how long I played this game.
So you know what you're talking about as far as what
As far as what the game could really like, you've heard of the like Elite Dangerous and what's the other one? The other big space game. Is it Valkyrie? Eve. There's Valkyrie.
Okay.
Elite is pretty much the big one where you hear stories about these intergalactic battles and people losing real money.
Real money, right? Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, how awesome would it be if this is our version of Elite, where you have these gigantic space battles where people losing millions of, well, I want to say real world money, but like millions of
They are
credits.
losing money. I mean, I've read the stories. They lose real money. So it's not out of the possibility.
And I've also read that there's some battles that last weeks long.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Now,
too.
I don't have that kind of time, but that does not mean I would not have liked to have participated in this type of battle.
Like, I'm sure there were smaller battles within that you can jump into.
And for a fact, there's always that one guy that just flies right through the middle, minding his own business. Does not get shot down, does not get even one scratch on his ship. He was just passing through just to trade some gold.
So like we said, no one. Are there any other games that you can think of?
Well, besides every single
Well,
multiplayer
obviously,
shooter,
right?
every single multiplayer shooter, but that's the one game for me that comes to mind that could really benefit the sort of crossplay functionality. All right, because let's face it, every game right now I think could benefit from crossplay, right? And
Every game that has a multiplayer
I think,
aspect to it.
yeah, I think. See, but this is where I'm kind of not sure if it'll benefit the competitive side or the co-op side. Which one you think would benefit more from crossplay?
Probably the co-op, because multiplayer competitive, there's no shortage of that.
Oh no, absolutely not.
But co-op, I don't know exactly a game. What's that game that they escaped from jail? And oh my God, you know what I'm talking about?
The new one that A Way Out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That could benefit from crossplay.
No,
I
you're right,
don't
yeah.
know, and you can download it. You can download the demo and play with somebody that already has it.
Or a game like Far Cry 5 where it has you could play the entire game co-op. And
Okay.
they have that arcade mode where you can you can make maps and all that sort of stuff. Like that would just magnify the community 2-3 times more than what it is now if it was crossplay.
I mean, I don't know what the community is now as far as co-op, but you would imagine it's easier. Think about it this way. I'm sure we know it's easier to find people to shoot at than to shoot with.
You're right.
Like, as far as
That's a good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it.
Call of Duty, you can log in right now and you have no problem finding a match.
Yeah, there's no shortage of somebody to shoot at. You know?
Or Battlefield. You can log into Battlefield 4 right now, and you can still find a match pretty quickly.
Right. And just imagine, and it just popped into my head. A game like Fallout 76, how it could benefit from crossplay.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know exactly what's that going to look like.
I mean, I know the online component, you're only going to have a dozen players in a server at once. We're not talking hundreds of thousands of people. It's just going to be a couple of dozen. We'll just say 12 people, right? Kind of like how the Division, Destiny, how that kind of work, where you had your hubs where everybody shared, and then once you go out in the world, it's only a certain amount of people. But a game like even the Division 2.
Hey, I was just going to say that. Think about the Division 1. Think about how long it took us to find players.
You're right, yeah. You're right. I think a game like
and
the
that damn
Division.
Subway.
Oh my God.
Think about that. Even if they did it after the fact, a year or two later, I imagine. Again, I don't work for Sony, and I'm not there, but it can't be that difficult.
No,
If Switch is able to do it, a less powerful console can make it happen.
I guarantee you that it's just literally switching a switch, pushing a button, checking a box. That's how I see how easy this thing could be. How they could just literally change the scope of gaming with just a press of a button. And they're not doing it. Why? Because of the money.
Yeah. I mean, they don't want to lose that money from... I think you in Fortnite you buy cosmetic items. Again, I don't play it, so I don't know.
Right.
But I think you buy cosmetic items in the store, and it goes right to Sony.
And that's where the issue is. They don't want people buying cosmetics on other systems, even though you're using your Epic account, right?
You're still buying it on PSN,
Yeah,
from what I understand.
Yeah, you're still buying it on PlayStation, and I'm pretty sure PlayStation probably gets a cut.
Oh, of course.
Of that.
No doubt about that.
And
There's no doubt about that.
They don't want people messing with the money flow. They don't want people messing with that.
Yeah, Fortnite, regardless, Fortnite is we keep saying it, is the biggest game of this year.
And I think we've mentioned it at least once in every podcast that we've had so far.
Yeah. And we don't even play it that much.
Yeah, I've played it like just a handful of times, and yet
And that was 6 months ago.
yeah, and yet here we are still talking about it.
So that should show how too few that don't play it that much.
And exactly, that just goes to show you how influential this game really is. How it took a simple idea and it blew up.
Yeah.
Because remember, Fortnite wasn't even on the radar before Battle Royale.
But PUBG was the
PUBG
first.
was. PUBG was the only one that was really making headlines. And then when Fortnite implemented the whole battle royale, people think it was, oh, it's cute. It's
Yeah,
cute.
it took a little bit for it
It,
to get going.
yeah.
I'll say that.
Oh man, but it got going.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
got going. And like I said, the one I've never played PUBG, although I think I would like PUBG better than Fortnite. But right now, Fortnite, just the gameplay mechanics, the shooting mechanics, it's a lot tighter on Fortnite because I still read that there's a lot of problems with PUBG as far as the bugs and the
Oh,
hit
really? I don't
detection.
know.
There's still those issues. And are they going to fix it? Yeah, they probably will. But right now, Fortnite is just taking advantage of that.
And that's what Sony should, in this case, Sony should comply and just do, just do what should be done because you don't want them to. We're big Sony fans,
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely. I've owned the Microsoft console, but yeah, I'm I'll say it this way. I'm a gaming fan.
right.
I'm a gaming
That's
fan,
first.
and I want. I can't believe I'm going to use this phrase, but we want what's best for business. Our business of gaming, and we really feel that crossplay is that next step. Not the console
It
itself,
is.
not the
It is.
hardware. Yeah, not the hardware. I'm talking about there's always that one game that takes it to the next level. It was Fortnite. Before that, what game, it was Grand Theft Auto, remember?
Right.
Nobody knew what open world games was. Here comes Grand Theft Auto. Took it to that next level. And I feel like we're at that point again. We've seen it all, but we need that one functionality to get us to that next level. And I feel like right now is the time. And I feel like the community needs to get on Sony's rear end to really push this thing through.
Do you think if crossplay happened, it would open the floodgates, pretty much?
It would positively and negatively, because like
Okay.
we said, there's always an unforeseen consequence when it comes to making a decision that's this big.
Right.
But the good thing is they're, I would say, smart enough. We like to think that they're smart enough to be like, okay, if this happens, we have a plan for it. We'll take care of it. Because there's always these unforeseen consequences. But I
Yeah.
think it would really open up the floodgates. I think it really would. It would take it and what's good is it would really show brand loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I'm not sure. I see what you're saying about that.
Because
But at that point, would that even matter?
it would, well, to the hardcore fanboys, yes, it would matter.
Okay.
I think it would matter to a certain point. You have the brand loyalty. You have people that are team PlayStation, team Xbox, team Switch, or who knows, they want to play for all teams. So be it. Whichever one you want to play for at the moment. But the one thing that always aggravated me was the fact that, let's say, and this happened with Grand Theft Auto 5. I'll use it as an example. I had a lot of friends that were playing it online, but they were only playing it on Xbox.
Yeah, I ran into that. I ran into that as well.
I had a lot of friends that were playing it, and they were creating gangs and they were doing all this crazy stuff, but they were playing on Microsoft. They were playing on Xbox. I couldn't participate. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Now, I'm not in a position where I have, all this extra cash running around and saying, yeah, let me go buy another console just so I can play with my friends. That's not how things work.
Right.
I don't have disposable income like that, and I really think there's a lot more good that can come from this than bad, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. The good outweighs the bad in this case.
How many other games have you played where you want to play with a friend, but I got it for another console? My bad, dude.
Call of Duty is the biggest one that everybody had it on Xbox for a couple games.
Right,
Everybody had it on Xbox. A couple of my friends had it on PS3, but mostly everybody had it on Xbox.
right.
Anyway, everybody had it on Xbox.
I
Actually.
mean, how many times did we come across it? I had Xbox 360. You had a PS3.
Right.
It sure as hell happened to us. Until I made the leap and I had both consoles. But then, even if you do
Call
have,
of Duty was the biggest one I remember.
oh
That
yeah, I think
everybody had it on Xbox, and I
yeah,
couldn't. I was literally playing alone. Like, and again, they would tell you, "Oh, just get an Xbox." And yeah, it's not that easy, right?
Yeah, it's not that easy. And I remember specifically having coworkers, especially when Modern Warfare 2 came out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I had coworkers. Oh, I had these insane matches. Give me your
Yeah.
your gamer tag or whatever it was called. And I would tell them, and it's like, wait a minute. Oh, you're on Xbox or you're on this, and it kind of made you feel like, oh, I'm being left out. Like I'm being,
You're a leper.
yeah, exactly. And I wanted to play. I wanted to participate. I wanted to be part of all these insane matches, and unfortunately, you couldn't
Yeah, you hear
because
about everybody being on one team and all your friends on or Halo was the other one.
yeah. But then again, Halo's sort of an
That's
exclusive.
exclusive, but that's the other
But
game
yeah,
came to my mind.
that's another game that it just did multiplayer well, and you really can't put that into the whole crossplay thing because
That's
that's where
true, but it did pop into my mind.
exactly Call of Duty, where the Battlefield, what's another popular shooter that I think those are the only two.
I mean, those are the two biggest ones that would take the most advantage.
Right. But I do think even if they do decide to go with the whole crossplay, there should be some sort of icon or some sort of color where it would be blue for PlayStation, green for Xbox, PC.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there
They
will
should
be.
do that so I'm playing against an Xbox player. For some strange reason, that'll give you more of a motivation, especially if you're playing on a PlayStation, to really give it to that person. It's kind of like I
I
said, the
think
brand loyalty.
you're going a little too far as far
I
as
know, I know.
the competitive because we're talking about that you want to play with your friends.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
you know,
you're right.
You want to play with people that you normally can't play with, and that's what sucks the most out of all this.
Yeah, you just want to play. You just want to play
You
with
know,
your
you want
friends.
to play with
That's
your
it.
friends, and it's still we're not there yet, and we can get there. If Sony turns it around, we can get there. I'm always with the thought of we will eventually have the. I want to say this now, that we will eventually get to the one console system.
Really? You thinking that far ahead?
Letting that flag down. Right?
But now that the one
That's,
console to rule them
I'm,
all.
I'm at that. I feel that's where we will go eventually. We might not see it, but we will get there eventually.
So you think eventually Sony and Xbox and Switch, Nintendo, they're gonna be like, all right, guys, they're gonna be in a conference room.
I think what will happen is some people will eventually fail, or they'll just back off,
Hmm.
and they'll just get to one. You know how the DVD, Blu-ray, HD, DVD
Yeah. Oh
happened?
yeah. That short period of time where you had all these different formats, and you're like, okay. Eventually,
And but HD, DVD just stopped. They just, all right, they're not working.
yeah, Blu-ray won. Blu-ray's like, all right,
And I think
we'll assimilate
that's
you.
how it will happen. I think eventually some people will just get out of the market, and by default, it'll come to one.
It's definitely interesting.
I don't think it's gonna be the Xbox, PS4. I don't think it'll be that. That is my future vision.
The X Station,
Yeah, I don't
some
think,
weird hybrid, some
I don't think it'll be
Frankenstein
that.
monster.
I think it'll be an Xbox or PS4 or a PlayStation, and that's it. And
Somebody will bow out gracefully.
exactly. And I think actually Switch. Who knows what Nintendo will do? Nobody can predict what they'll do. That's what I think will happen. But this is the avenue to that, and Sony's ruining my future vision.
Sony's ruining the future,
Again, we said that the good outweighs the bad in this.
but we need the community's help. Without their voices, we can't get to where we want to go.
Why do you think? This is a legitimate question. I'm not asking it because I have the answer. Why do you think everybody gathered around the loot box thing, and Star Wars specifically?
I think it had to do more with a company, meaning EA, trying to ruin a much beloved franchise.
Do you think it was more?
That's my theory behind it. That's why also people hated the Last Jedi, because they feel like that movie ruined the franchise.
I mean, I like the Last Jedi, but okay.
No, I'm just saying the overall feeling of the community. I personally liked The Last Jedi. I thought there wasn't that many that I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, the community, like, there's hardcore Star Wars fans, and you can't touch that franchise. And it
I
was
think it was just a combination of EA and Star Wars.
well, EA was hated from the get go.
So EA is easy to.
Yeah, EA was an easy target.
Right.
And for them to do what they did, it was just easy. Oh, look at what EA's doing. They're trying to ruin a franchise, and eventually they got enough people behind them for EA to back off and say they took a step back, they reassessed, and they said, okay, loot boxes are ruining this game. The game is not bad. I've read reviews and I've seen.
Yeah, I've read the same thing.
The game is not bad. The game is actually pretty good. It's one of the best uses of a license. It's just the loot boxes and the grinding, and somebody calculated how much time you're gonna have to need in order to get this version of Luke, and it was the loot boxes were ruining the game. The loot boxes were ruining the game, and that was the specific reason why I did not want to get Star Wars, was because of that whole loot box thing. And you know what? People got behind it. People saw a common enemy, which was EA.
Yeah, EA is easy to hate. So.
They saw the common enemy is like, we cannot let this happen. And that was the reason why they were able to take a step back. There was enough people to say, and a lot of people are going to look at PlayStation right now as the villain.
But will it be enough? Enough people?
That's the $1 million question. Will it be enough to get PlayStation to do the same? For them to take a step back?
And right now, I'm not seeing it.
Nope, I'm not seeing it either. That's why we're asking the community for help. Get us that crossplay. Get us to where we need to be.
I agree, because it can only help us. It can only, you might not sell one other game. I'm sure their bottom line will be fine.
Do you think it's just a matter of greed right now?
Unfortunately, I think so. I hate to say that, but
all the evidence that's being presented to us,
that's what
points to that. And look, even the former Sony boss of online entertainment even said it. It's about money, plain and simple. Simple as that. Dumb reason, but there it is.
I mean, for us, it's dumb. They obviously think it's different.
Their bottom line is not going to be hurt. Trust me. Even if they go to...
Well, I know that, but obviously they think different. Let's face it, Fortnite is making a lot of money.
That is true. That is very, very true. It is making a lot of money.
So how much will it affect Sony? I mean, we don't know that. It sucks to see this. I'll say that.
But I'm interested to hear what the community has to say. What are their thoughts? What do you guys think as far as where this whole crossplay? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Reach out to us. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think, because this is not a topic that I think will go away that easy. I really think that it's the community's, not responsibility, but they really need to get involved. If they want crossplay, you gotta let your voices be heard. We would love to hear what you guys would have to say about this whole thing. So as always, check us out on levelbasedgaming.com.
Follow us on Twitter. Check us out on YouTube, and follow us on Podbean as well. Podbean.com.
And as I sign off, my name is Felipe Parada, and the other guy on the mic is Oscar Portillo.
And we're out.